How's it going, YouTube? This is TalkF bringing you another video, and in today's video we're going to be talking a little bit about some upcoming RPGs in the year 2016. And while we're talking about that, we're going to see a little bit of gameplay from a game that released I think a year or two ago, Dragon Age Inquisition, great RPG. And we're playing this on PC off of the Origin game service. So what I'm going to talk about today is well, RPGs like I mentioned, but specifically RPGs pertaining to the PlayStation platforms for this particular video. In future videos I'd like to talk about some for other platforms like Nintendo and Xbox, but for today just PlayStation, and we're going to be talking about the PlayStation 4 as well as PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita releases. So this is we're in May right now, so I'm going to be talking about games coming after today's date in May, so from June on up for the rest of the year. Alright, so I'm going to be giving release dates according to the GameStop website, and we'll just go through each of these games and talk a little bit about each. So the first on the list, and the closest to release as of today, is a little RPG called Atelier, Sophie, the Alchemist of the Mysterious Book. So that's set to release on PlayStation 4 on the 7th of June. So the Atelier series is an alchemy creating series, I guess you could say. It's as far as like RPG elements go, it's a turn-based battle system, sort of an old school style battle system, which is really cool. The game series originally released on PlayStation 2 back in the day. And you know, it was more RPG back then, with the classic open world, you know, maps and going through dungeons and so on and so forth, which is similar to what the recent Atelier games have been like, but they've been more centered around a time system where you have certain amount of days to create certain potions and whatever. So I mean, to be honest, it kind of lost its appeal to me, but if it's still a popular series, obviously they've made so many iterations, it must be selling well. So if anybody's interested in that, that will be releasing very shortly. Now, the next game on our list here is not an RPG in the traditional sense, but this one is actually a MOBA known as Paragon. So this is a more well-known game. It's releasing the same day as Atelier Sophie, so I kind of feel bad for Atelier Sophie, but that's alright. So Paragon, like I said, is a MOBA, and it's trying to bring the MOBA genre to a more wider audience. So it's releasing on all consoles, as far as I know, I think except the Wii U, of course. But it seems like a really interesting game. It has nice action elements. It has a really unique graphic style, so and really cool characters. So if you're interested in the MOBA genre and you're looking for a place to start, this may be a good start for you. So that's coming out on the 7th of June. Next we have a game called Odin Sphere. Leifthrasir Story Book Edition is releasing for it. On GameStop if you want that special edition. So the Odin Sphere series is not new. It released originally on the PlayStation 2, and it was very like the big thing about it was that it had an amazing graphic style. It's a 2D game with really beautiful animation, and on PlayStation 2 it just really popped, like the graphics. Now this company has gone on to make several other games that have a similar art style, and even on more modern systems like PlayStation 3. So we had games with similar art styles like A Dragon's Crown, for example, which is a more popular game that released that art style. So they're very, very nice 2D art. But the Odin Sphere series is really, really good. Side-scrolling action RPG. I did buy it back on the PS2 days. Wasn't a huge fan of the revolving levels. It just got a little repetitive after a while. But that doesn't mean it's a bad game. The gameplay was excellent. The graphics were nice. The story was interesting. And overall, it was a pretty good game. So definitely one to check out. Now that's releasing on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita. And also on PlayStation 3. So any Sony system you get to play that game. Now the next game on the list is a game called Grand Kingdom. And Odin Sphere is releasing on the 7th as well. Grand Kingdom is releasing on the 21st of June. This is a tactical turn-based RPG. If you're into that genre, this is looks like a pretty interesting game. I've kind of lost my my steam for those types of games. Doesn't mean they're bad though. They're very good games if you have the patience, I guess you could say, for them. But definitely, if you are into that, there's one to check out, and that's coming out on PS4 and PlayStation Vita on the same day. There's also a Grand Kingdom Limited Edition releasing for the PlayStation 4 with lots of goodies. If you're interested in that, well, you can go ahead and reserve that at GameStop or your local game store that's going to be having that. The next game is a game that I actually don't know a whole lot about. It's called the Technomancer, and it's coming out on PlayStation 4. As all I've had a chance to see was some screenshots, and I read a little bit about it. Apparently, it's set in a like post-apocalyptical world. So you have weapon customization and a whole bunch of this. It just sounds really good. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be as good as it sounds. The graphics look awesome. The gameplay looks like action style from the screenshot. I'm not too sure if that's what it is, but that's what it looks like to me. And it looks promising. I mean, it's $60. I think it's a new IP. I haven't heard of any other Technomancer games. I might be wrong about that. But and if I am, please let me know in the comments. But yeah, it looks interesting. So I'd say give it a shot. You know, like look up some information on it and see if it might be something you might be interested in. So that's releasing on the 28th, 1 week after Grand Kingdom. Next game that's releasing is 7 Days to Die, and that's another one that I'm not really too familiar with. It looks like a zombie type, you know, one of these zombie games, survival type games. So I suppose if that's your thing, there you go. There's another zombie survival game RPG. All right. Now the next game that's and that one's releasing on the 28th as well. The next game that's releasing on the 28th, which I think is going to trump all those other games that are releasing on that same day, is a little game called Star Ocean: Integrity and Faithlessness. So this game is releasing exclusively on PlayStation 4. It might be on Xbox One as well. I'm not too sure. But I know it's not going to be on PS3 here in the Americas. I know it is in Japan, but not in America. And definitely not on Vita, unfortunately. But anyway, so this game series, Star Ocean, for those of you who are not familiar, it's an action RPG series, heavily anime infused in terms of the aesthetics and graphics. It's really, really a fun gameplay. It really has a great gameplay to it. If you're into action RPGs, the battle systems for the Star Ocean games are top notch, and you may already be aware of that with the releases on PlayStation 3. There was Star Ocean Until the End of Time, I believe it was called. There was one on PS2, PS1. I mean, it was all over the place. It's an amazing game series. Great graphics. Really fun, interesting characters. You know, it's just overall worth playing. So I am super excited for this one. This is one of my more highly anticipated role-playing games for the year. Definitely. I'm really excited for this one. I've been seeing some gameplay of the Japanese version, and from what I've seen so far, I'm very, very impressed. Very happy with it. So definitely one I would highly recommend to keep on your radar if you don't already have it on your radar. And I think it's going to be a good one, made by Square Enix. So we'll hope for the best there. Following that, releasing on the 26th of July, is a game called Fairy Fencer F Advent Dark Force. So Fairy Fencer F was originally released on the PlayStation 3 several years ago. It's a turn-based RPG, little over the top. I think it's made by the same people who made Hyperdimension Neptunia. I'm probably wrong about that, but it's in a similar vein as those games where it's like a really sort of over-the-top battle system, and just kind of ridiculous damage amounts and whatnot. So it's I hear that it's a pretty interesting game. Probably not like oh my gosh, an amazing RPG or whatnot, but if you're looking for a decent JRPG, that might be one to look into there. Next we have another little RPG known as Deus Ex Mankind Divided. So this is one that another game that I'm very highly anticipating. I have played the Deus Ex series since the original Xbox. I played the first Deus Ex that released on there, and I couldn't really get it. I mean, I was younger back then, and it was one of the first first-person shooter RPGs that I've played, and I just wasn't too familiar with how everything worked and whatnot. Not a bad game though. I still stuck with it, and I did enjoy what I did play of it. I also played the more recent Human Revolution on PlayStation 3, PC, Xbox 360, and that one was pretty good. I didn't beat it. So there was a couple of quirks in the game that I just could not wrap my head around and didn't really enjoy too much, I guess. Not a bad game though. Great open world, interesting characters, very interesting story. I like the whole cyberpunk vibe it has going. But the Mankind Divided looks absolutely amazing. Definitely excited for this one, and I look forward to giving it a try. And that's releasing on the 23rd of August. Next, we have a game releasing on September 2nd, known as The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 2. So, the Legend of Heroes series is one that's been around for quite some time. A turn-based RPG series. It has some strategic elements in certain games. And I'm assuming that it's pretty popular because they've made several iterations. Originally came out on the PSP here in America, and it had a few iterations on PSP. The last game, The Legend of Hero Trails of Cold Steel Part 1, released on PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita. Turn-based, like I said, turn-based RPG. Pretty nice anime-looking graphics. I hear it's good. I have not had the opportunity to play it myself, although I am planning on picking it up as soon as possible. I'm waiting for a little bit of a price drop on it, and I'm definitely going to be picking that one up. So Part 2 is coming out. So if you did enjoy Part 1, there you go. You got a sequel coming right on up. So that's going to be releasing for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita, which is always nice to see a little bit of Vita love. I don't know if it's going to be cross-buy. Would be awesome if it was, but I kind of doubt it because we haven't been seeing much of that lately. But there we go. So there's another cool RPG. Next we have a little game called Psycho Pass Mandatory Happiness Limited Edition. Is also being released for it. So this one, I'm not too familiar with this game. I think it's a visual novel type RPG. So I guess if you're into that, it might be something to look into. I have not really gotten into any visual novel games, and so I probably won't be picking this one up. But you know, there it is. If you're interested, it looks pretty good, like the art style and whatnot. Um, so that's releasing on PS4 and PlayStation Vita, and you have some limited editions for both systems, so that's pretty cool. And that's releasing on the 13th of September. Following that release, on the 30th of September, is another tiny little game known as Final Fantasy 15, made by Square Enix. So this is probably the biggest RPG release of the year, at least for me. I am super excited for it. I love the Final Fantasy series, even the ones that are kind of controversial as to whether they're good or not, such as Final Fantasy 13, for example, Final Fantasy 12. I enjoyed all of them. I truly did. I've played through every single Final Fantasy game. I played the demo of Final Fantasy 15, and I loved it. Beat the entire demo, put a couple of hours into it, and I must say that I truly enjoyed every minute of it. There was a second demo released for it that was kind of weird, I guess you could say. It was a little strange. Like you play like the main character, Noctis, and you're like in his dream or something like that. It was kind of weird. But still, the gameplay's tight. The game battle system was updated, which was nice to see. And it was pretty cool. I mean, I'm still very excited for it. I love the art style. I love the fact that the characters look like like tough characters. Like they remind me of Final Fantasy VII, which is awesome. So I'm very excited for it. I'm hoping that the story holds up. I'm happy with the battle system, happy with the open world. So long as the story holds up, I think we can have a winner on our hands here. So that's releasing on September 30th. I wish it was releasing now, but nope, still gotta wait. So there's a deluxe edition for that game as well, releasing the same day for $90. Yikes. I mean, that better be like really deluxe. But anyway. Following that, on October 18th, we have Super Dimension Neptune versus Sega Hard Girls. Wow, that sounds interesting. So this is another entry in the Hyper Dimension Neptunia series. I believe it's a fighting game with RPG elements. It's releasing on the PlayStation Vita for $40. It looks pretty interesting. I mean, if you're into the Hyperdimension Neptunia series, this might be one to look into. So there you go. So that's releasing in October. The next game on the list is releasing on both PlayStation Vita and PlayStation 4. Well, there's not a set release date for this one yet, so there's just a placeholder date of December 31st, 2016. So we'll probably hear more about the release date at E3. But anyways, the game is called World of Final Fantasy. So World of Final Fantasy was showcased at last year's E3 2015. It was kind of squeezed in between some other big releases, for example, Final Fantasy VII. So I think it kind of got overlooked a little bit because of that. But it looks actually like a pretty interesting game. It's releasing, like I said, on a handheld as well as the PS4. For me, I might get this on the PlayStation Vita because it seems more like a on-the-go type game. It's sort of a monster collecting game, I guess kind of in the vein of a Pokemon style, but of course a way different battle system and concept and whatnot. But with that in mind, it looks like it might be one of those addictive games that you want to take on the go and just play, on in the car, at the bus stop, whatever. So that's another pretty interesting game coming out that I definitely would like to pick up when it does release, and hopefully we'll get a release date at E3 and hear a little bit more about the gameplay, battle system, and all that good stuff. Next we have a game called Horizon Zero Dawn. So this is one of those games that kind of was very like jaw-dropping when it was shown at E3 last year, when they showed the demo of the woman warrior fighting this giant mechanical dinosaur Tyrannosaurus Rex looking thing, and it was just mind-blowing. She was using a bow and arrow, and this is a new IP that's being released. So, I mean, it looks good. We don't know if it's going to be as good as it looks yet. We will find out soon enough. But I gotta say, I'm very excited for this one. I'll definitely be picking it up when it releases on PlayStation 4 for the price of $60. Next, another game that does not have a set release date as of right now, but it has a placeholder date of December 31st, and that is God Eater 2 Rage Burst. There's a day one edition for this game if you reserve it, which I might, because I'm a big fan of God Eater. I played the God Eater 1 on the PSP back in the day. It also works on PlayStation Vita, so if you have not had a chance to play it, I'd say give it a shot. But one more thing, I believe that they will be releasing the remake of God Eater 1 for Vita, so you might want to wait for that to see if it gets 100% confirmed. And when it does, definitely pick that one up. But it's a game in that's similar to the Monster Hunter series, where you're just like you have a main hub town, and then you're sent off on missions where you fight these giant monsters with a little team of warriors and whatnot. Really fun game, and I gotta say, I kind of enjoyed it a little more than Monster Hunter, to be honest. I just like the whole post-apocalyptic setting of the game. I love the graphics, the art style. I just found it more interesting than Monster Hunter. That's just me. So definitely would recommend that game when it comes out. It's coming out on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita, which is pretty nice. And last but not least, we have kind of a re-release of a game, and that is Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue. So Kingdom Hearts 2 doesn't really need an introduction. It's a very well-known action RPG featuring Disney and Square Enix characters, or Squaresoft when it first released. So it's a really good game, probably my favorite in the Kingdom Hearts series from what I've played. And you get a 1080p 60 frame version of it on PlayStation 4. Sounds pretty good to me, with some extra content. Sounds really good. I don't know about $60 price tag. I mean, I'm hoping that whatever they add to it makes it worth that, especially for people who have bought it several times already. But I guess time will tell, and we'll see what happens with that. But if you have not played the Kingdom Hearts series, this is the perfect opportunity to jump in. It's a great game series. You get 2 games in one here. So you're getting the remake of the PSP game, which was awesome. Birth by Sleep was one of the better Kingdom Hearts games, absolutely. So definitely check this one out when that releases, if you have not already. And that's going to just about end it for the PlayStation RPG releases. So as you guys can see, we have a really great year for RPGs ahead of us. There's some really cool JRPGs. We have some Western RPGs coming up. So it's a very exciting year for gamers. A lot of these games are multi-plat, so I may be repeating them when I do the Xbox and Nintendo video. So just bear with me there. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it, please drop it a like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know what games you're excited for. What RPGs are you excited for coming up this year? I'd really like to know. And thanks again, guys, and have a wonderful day. Game on.